Well, as the sun goes down, the speeds go up. It's almost time to get underway for this shootout for the fastest time and the best possible grid position for tomorrow's race. Let's get on with it. It's qualifying for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Here we are, the Bahrain qualifying is now just underway, and we are driving Lance Stroll at the just waved it up. And I know he's really very happy with the result that's been happening so far. Don't forget the contract we had from last season, the standard is quite high, and the bottom six are out Dillon, Bordenat, Lawson, Aaron, Behrman, Albert, and then 2-2 is Holtenberg, Olton, Howder, Tolopito, Jack Torfor, and Lando Norris. That's a bit of a shocking one from Norris, being out at 11, that's a bit of a shocking one, but yeah, as I talked about the contract with Stroll from last season, it's quite confident we can say that we are matching the standard that he wanted for the team for this season, which is brilliant. I'm happy to basically tired of and now that we are more keen on signing Stroll over Miyata, because Stroll has scored back-to-back points. Miyata haven't, but no fault of his own, but he hasn't been able to score some points in Australia due to the end that had happened that he had no control under. So Stroll done a brilliant job so far. Hopefully in Bahrain we get another team scoring points. That'll be amazing for us. But of course we already began our the third one. Didn't really have the best one. We own a brand new tyre for that one. But now for the second one, brand new tyre again to manage to at the brain. 3 first stop of tour 2-1 for the Rampant, and we only just run 8 behind Miyata by 12,000 of a second. Relatively close, that's for sure, and Max Verstappen on the pole, 1/10 ahead of Charles Leclerc with second place and Carlos third.
It started as a day race, now it runs at night. Welcome to the Bahrain International Circuit, and welcome to the Bahrain Grand Prix. We go racing today around the 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda and Antonelli, Miyata, Stroll, Piastri and Fernando Alonso, Norris, Crawford, Franco Colapinto and Hadjar, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Alex Albon and Ollie Behrman, Aaron, Lawson, Bortoletto and Jack Doohan rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me today, former Formula One driver and former world champion too. See, told you I'd give you a big intro. Anthony Davidson, hello. Now, I'll be generous here. It's not that long ago that you were racing and entertaining us on a Sunday. But in the years since, the sport has changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has, Crofty. You know, the cars have got bigger, they're heavier, but critically, there's more downforce to play with as well now. There was about 4 tons of downforce on the car at 300 kilometers an hour when I drove. You're now looking more towards 5 tons of downforce. So there's a big difference in performance. But because of that, the car being heavier and bigger, you've got to drive in a smoother way. You've got to look after it a bit more. You've got to nurse it through the slow speed corners more. They were much more nimble, agile machines when I drove in Formula 1 compared to now.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio's okay.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
That is exactly the plan. We want to try to achieve another top 10 finish. Of course, listen to the strategy, try to figure out what the start we can go for, and apparently for some reason we are started on all the stop, even though the other setup we were on with the plan B, there were two fresh stop. So I'm confused why that happened. I don't know why we're not having a brand new stop, but it's fine. I'm gonna keep my head down and try and do a good job and slow teammate Miyata. That's on a hard tire. Don't quite study of the cars that are done very much different strategy, hard, medium from alone though, and couple on soft. So I think they're quite a section of hard, medium and soft. So it's quite interesting to see what is the outcome will be like, and I'm hoping to score some points along with Miyata. So let's see how this bar round will go. Are we now waiting for the light to go out, and Max Verstappen, who's up a fantastic start himself, Charles Leclerc and the second play had a good start as well. Newton Tonona also had a good start, overtaking Pierre Gat, but looks like they're going side by side. We got Stroll, who actually went quite deep with the third corner and got himself up to P5 from P8 up to P5. Fantastic start from Lance Stroll, and we got Piat who's in battle with Timmy at the yellow for P7. They both come out on top without causing problem, and the JP Piat that the main ahead of at the yellow, and Miyata had unfortunately lost 3 places down to P10. So here is the late start. We can see Stroll on the right hand going near the overtake on at the alley, and while Miyata did not have a good start, and Piatti obviously won't try to get the 3 Malo, get himself ahead of Miyata, and we can see Stroll, who went quite deep, Malo's making war, and overtaken basically 2 lead cars, which is an incredible start so far for Lance Stroll, and of course Piatti, who were quite happy with the star, but he actually made 1 place up, which is quite positive for him, and we can see all the way to the bottom Jack doing P22, and I can't imagine that there will be some good performances from the Alpine nor the Audi. I can't see that today, but we got Piatti, who now just made the move on Carlo's side, and at the LA and Lando Norris are having a battle side by side, and of course they're both on a different tyre. To the advantage is more onto the soft tyre, but Timmy at the LA to try and get back at Lando Norris. We're on the outside line, we got Miyata P10, of course, on a hard tyre, so that may sound why some of those hard tyre runners actually lose a bit of a play from the start. His tyre is cold, not enough lip to the survey, while soft tyre got a better lip advantage basically, and we got Yuta Tsunoda, who got himself in the shot for with Charles Leclerc, the same as Acciella, who got a bit of a shot for with Lando Norris, and Miyata got himself up the P8, but now dropped the P9 battery all out with Lando Norris. Which is Miyata to the try and commit an overtake, but it looks like he lost the place to Lando, but he still moved up the P9, but he's in replay from the incident in turn 1 in lap 2, which of course there was a bit of a commotion between the of the drivers. As we can see, it's more likely onto Lando. No, there was a massive space for Miyata. He went into Acciella, and obviously coming up turn, they made contact with Miyata. I don't know why, there was plenty of space, but that's all on Lando. No, it's got a damage, that's his problem, but once again, he made contact with Miyata, who also were a victim in the last rampant in Japan, where Lando of course came together, but Minotaur, he escaped without damage. It stays here in Bahrain, even though that looked quite bad, but it's saved by some Minotaur, and Max Verstappen still needs now 3 seconds incredible pace from Max Verstappen, but here's a lot of timing, there's more battle going on with Acciella and Miyata, and Acciella had overtaken Miyata and got slower, who's trying to navigate and overtake onto Pierre Gasly, but it seems like the battle could be on for that 4th place, which be very good leader for Snow to be able to pull it off of tour, but the Snow have not got a top 5 finish in a quite a while. Going back to last season, there was barely any top 5 leader for Lance Stroll, but it's on basically 5 rally streak of 40 points joy from last season to now that if he finished on point here, that is 3 points score that wish to be further to accomplishment for Lance. No, but he's showing what he can do, but we've got another flag on the straight line, and I definitely tell you that it's Gabriel Bortoletto, who had unfortunately DNF out of the race, even though he's in that Mercedes engine with the Alpine of Tour show. Mercedes engine are not so reliable, are they? Which is a bit of a concern. That's now Miyata at the yellow and Gabriel Bortoletto. All the Mercedes engine are out of the race once again. It's a bit of a shocking one like that, and we've got Piatti, who had overtaken Lance, along with Carlos, who made the move up. Lance trying not to give up too easily as he launched himself a little bit forward to put himself in a defensive position to try and remain ahead of Carlos. But we could also see Stroll, they started feeling a little bit uncomfortable with the tyre got on right now, with the stop tyre, and that not going to be a big help for Stroll, because we can see the medium tyre from Carlos, who will be having a pretty much more advantage basically to catch Stroll, and might put himself in a battle for the podium potentially. And Carlos sending the outside. It's slow, going slow into the corner. I think so. I think he started getting aware of the tyre limits to start to falling apart, and unfortunately not the play. Carlos, who basically spotted that happening within a second and sending the outside. So fantastic move from Carlos. So not a bit help for Stroll. It's just unfortunate the stop tyre just started to later away already. If it was a brand new stop tyre, we might be fine, but we were running on basically almost the lap old of a soft tyre, basically that we using in the qualifying. I don't know why we put that on to Lance Stroll tyre, makes no sense whatsoever. But unfortunately, land or not, it makes it a move on land. And can land defend it or not? The outside can Stroll get a good exit. He's going to try to defend it, and it looks like he's gone new ahead of land or not. A fantastic defender at the LAP in 9. And we've got Miyata and Alonso having a battle for the P10. It seems like Fernando has put himself ahead of Miyata, maybe finally towards the point for Aston Martin. Are they missing Lance? No, I highly doubt it, even though Ocon is actually not driving pretty well. He's driving lower level than Stroll. When he was back at Aston Martin last season, it was a questionable one for them to try to make that decision moving on from Stroll. But Land and others had unfortunately overtaken Land. But Land is obviously going to go into the pit because the soft tyre is gone wipe out. No good to continue. We can try, but we put ourselves in a very difficult moment because we will start feeling a bit of a wheel spin, snapping, all that sort of thing. So it makes sense to come in early, try to achieve the undercut. We got both William Ruddy 11th and 12th, and that's because Stroll, of course, has put it at the alley up a P8, Miyata P9, of course, reclaiming the place back from Fernando, and we've got Piatti chasing after Daphne, using Sonona as of course, chasing after Charles Leclerc. But Charles Leclerc is chasing after the leader very, very hard. And I know he got the pace to do it because the leader, Max Verstappen, is on this soft tyre. So this is where Charles Leclerc needs to make it work for himself to push and catch Max. And we've got Stroll, who's going to make a move on double tyre. Can Stroll get Miyati gone a little bit deep, but that did not matter. He overtaken Aaron and Jack Dumont with a fantastic late braking. He managed to make it work again from lap 1, and now brilliant job, and looks like Dumont to try to get himself back there, but he does not do that, and Stroll remain ahead of Jack Dumont. That hard tyre feels good to Lance right now, and I'm very happy about that for him, because he can start pushing, showing the pace, and Ocon, who's in P30 at the moment, nowhere close to Fernando Alonso, who pretty much overshoven Sutton ahead of a teammate. That showed there's a bit difference between both of them, even though they were former teammates back in Alpine years ago, and we got Newton Tsunoda, who had pitted, now not down top of order, top of plated, doesn't really matter too much, and we got slow, we got very close to Jack Torford, and we can see there's a lot of the cars ahead of Slow. He needs to get all of them done in one job. Didn't make it more. He's gonna make it 4 more. Yes, he is. Slow. Didn't make it more. 4 more. He's gonna do. Yes, he is. Gone deep. He's gone very, very deep. But can he get it through? Yes, he does. It's 3 more, and now he's back ahead of Lawson. It's moving up the order very nicely, but we seem to have a fight with Torford. No, we don't. Not Slower. The main ahead with a fantastic deep dive. Basically, he was breaking so low to try and make it work, and he did, and I'm very happy about that. But Lance Stroll and Max Verstappen had finally come into the pit in lap 10 to put a medium tyre along with Lando Norris, who has pitted as well. And here is the replay of lap 9, where of course Stroll made to move on one of the half, which is Alabama with a fantastic exit and put himself ahead of Alabama, but somehow Alabama got them paid, which makes no sense because the car is faster than Alabama. I think that's something to do with the AR being quite powerful on the straight line speed, perhaps, I don't know. But in the live timing with Stroll, who's coming through onto Hazard, and we've got Peter who's batted in with Newton Tsunoda and Stroll now through for lap 10 to begin up the P12 round. Another who's in P11, Star made it way through. I've torn quite far back to Max Verstappen to maybe Matt to actually end up winning it all this weekend. I mean, he got a pace to do it. He can definitely pull it off. I like he doesn't make the same mistake he did back in Japan. That'll be quite embarrassing if he made it back-to-back mistake. That would look bad for him. But it doesn't matter. It's Max Verstappen. He made one mistake. He forgets about it and dominates again. And we've got Max Verstappen in lap 12. It's coming through once again. We've got more time. Has pitted Newton Tsunoda to the go through. And Newton to be behind Matt. And that is where Charles Leclerc is supposed to be. And Miyata has pitted as well to the start for the order, unfortunately. But maybe with the new tyre on, he should be looking into doing one shot. It is possible doing one shot as long he put on the medium tyre, but if he was going to do one stop, he probably wanted to go longer on the hard tyre, but that his engine responsibility gave him, of course, the permission to do what they think is the best solution with the Miyata, which is over there. Stroll and Miyata are having a battle to get that final seat for the Brittany Motorsport. Because of course I've already announced at the beginning of the season that I'm joining Arthur to Russia, so the competition is going to be quite tense between both the rivals. But with his team McLaren at the Piazza and Lando Norris directly behind Franco Colapinto, who's in P7. They are having a hard time somehow, to get through, even though they're very close. But they just don't seem to have a pace to get ahead of Franco, which makes no sense, but really took driving at depth from Franco. But Newton Tsunoda has now lost a bit of a time, because Charles Leclerc has caught up to him, and don't forget, Charles with the post bit ahead of Newton Tsunoda. I don't know how they managed to swap here around, but not going to last long, as Charles Leclerc on the inside line and going to get the move done. Can he make it stick somehow, or with Newton Tsunoda defender? It seems like he did. Just for a second, the other is open for Charles Leclerc, and it's back though for the second place, and he's now to try and take off for Max Verstappen, and the both McLaren are finally free from franchise. I know they were shuffling a lot, especially the one who were behind McLaren rather, which is of course at the Piazza. I believe was behind Lando Norris, while he was also behind Franco. So 2 cars double dirty here. It's not a good look for your tyre when you have to try and control everything that's going on while being stuck in the dirty air. Not to be a big help on your engine, of course, but the lap 17, Carlos Sainz has gone ahead and overtaken Lando Norris. We've now looked at the P7, while P8 has gone up to P5, slow, P8 at the yellow, P9, Miyata, P10. But it looks like they're going to be 3-way fight potentially for the P8. But here's a replay of the P8 overtaken Lando Norris back in lap 14. So this is the move that had happened into turn 1 with P8 on the outside. Got a bit of a bad exit, but somehow made it up anyway and pulled ahead of Lando Norris. So pretty important move because he has to pull away from Lando eventually, so that was pretty solid work from the P8. I think the season is likely to be on the P8 side, where he can actually do some really good play, maybe beat his teammate basically for the third time this season. It is 20 as well, but it's over there. In 2024, he couldn't do it. 2025, well, couldn't do it, and of course 2023 couldn't do it. And at the yellow had overtaken Lance Stroll. This is where things started to get a little bit difficult for Stroll, but he's getting close. But every time at the yellow get on the straight line, the pace dropped so much, and I don't know why it's dropping, but Stroll just tried to make for the move, but he had the massive snap coming through the corner. He managed to stay there before making contact with Timmy at the yellow, and I think it's safe to say the straight line speed is somehow quite slow on the AR, which is quite disappointing because you have to do something to change your driving style to make it work, but it's fun. At the end of the day, it's fun, isn't it? A challenge, of course, but Charles Leclerc is 1.6 seconds behind Matt, and then Fernando Alonso, who of course had unfortunately did end up not in the Mercedes engine, he in the Honda engine, which of course not going to be a nice help for Fernando Alonso to deal with. And I'm told, I forgot to mention, there is some mod that have not been input properly, which is still the most born livingly, it's not correctly inputted. There's been some problem with the mod, but I just want to quickly remind you, and there's been a schedule to put a new tyre on for Max Verstappen, who lost a lot of the time, but at the pitch, who couldn't put on the right tyre in the back. To put it on, it seemed like it's taken a while to start, but looks like we might get Matt involved in a battle, which will help Leclerc to pull away if he can. And Miyata on the outside of Matt Verstappen, a contact made. Oh no, Matt made a contact with Miyata, and there's the damage on the front wing of Matt Verstappen. That is not a good look for, well, Matt, because he now made another mistake. I think it was all on Matt's problem because he went on the inside while Miyata on the outside. But here's a replay that's going to show you exactly what happened. So here's the moment that happened. Matt very close with the apex. Miyata, who I think might have a right to make that move anyway, was quite, in a bit of a space in a kind of area. But when he turned in, it kind of unraveled into incident. So I don't know who misstated the blame. I think I'm going to defend Miyata and say that was Max Verstappen's problem because he went for the move when he probably shouldn't. His hard tire is absolutely freezing. The braking is going to be very bad, and we've got Lando Norris, who has put in the go ahead, and Matt unfortunately will have to replace his fan win, and that's not going to be good because he now got another problem. This schedule to take it off, and what is going on at the board that back-to-back problem with the pitch lead, and Matt is not happy. I'm pretty sure if the radio shows up, he is pretty annoyed about it. That Matt has locked out the P13, and I think the win is out on Max Verstappen way, and it looks like it might go to Charles Leclerc potentially, and got slower up the P6, Miyata up the P7. But there's still some tires that already pitted that we need to pit anyway, so it doesn't matter where we are, we're still going to end up behind and get lucky with safety tire, which I was hoping when Fernando ended up pitting and Gabriel Borton had to pit got DNF and Fernando got DNF as well, forgot to say that properly. So it seems like safety car might not be on the book, even though they were deep in the middle of the road, so I don't know why they know. Further towards safety car nearly for Max's front wing damage, but Charles Leclerc has put it along with Pierre Gasly. We might actually see Gasly and Charles Leclerc battle all out for the victory potentially, and we got Miyata making a move on Lance Stroll on the inside line, and it's overtaken for P6, but Stroll is shanking it deep. Can he get it done to defend? Yes, he did. Stroll returned back. The Peter tried to stay as close as possible to Gatlin, but unfortunately Gatlin has been held up by Actiello, and that is going to help Charles Leclerc at the end now running away, and that's going to be a bit, chance for Charles Leclerc to get that victory that he wanted, and Stroll obviously tried to do something, and he got a broken ring. Stroll made the contact, yes he did. Lance Stroll had made the contact with Pierre Gasly. We now just have to come in. Stroll, how do you make that mistake so badly? That is just unfortunate now. We are end up behind Miyata with the front wing damage. That is not going to be a big hole because Miyata is of course coming in this lap, and Stroll is coming in this lap, and that's why it's a double stat. So Stroll needs to pull back a little bit to make some space so we both can go in without slowing down too much at the end. Then all the tires started coming in, and we were supposed to pit in lap 21, not 22. We made a mistake for not coming in early, but unfortunately they had a difficult time putting the tire off of Miyata wheel, and now Stroll is going to lose a lot of the time, but he had to change his front wing, he had to change his tyre, and of course being held up by the mistake from the pit, trying to take the wheels off from Lance, from Miyata, so it just did not work, and Max Verstappen is up in P10 with of course a stopped tyre. He now might have an advantage with the pace to attack all the tyre that has potentially, but Stroll is going to put himself back into point. P10, at least we might be able to get ourselves to finish 5 consecutively points finishing, going from last season to this season. That would be a fantastic result, I would say. We still finish on points, which is something we have been struggling to do last season, trying to score, consistently points finishing, but now we've got Newton Sonona in lap 25, in third place, Shire, fourth, Piatni's fifth, Lando Norris, sixth, and is that Matt going in again? It is. Matt Verstappen is in the pit once again. What is happening at the Red Bull? Are they making too many mistakes? Probably. I don't see any front wing damage, so I think their soft tyre is worn out, but if they were on the new soft tyre, which would make sense anyway, they are now on a newer soft tyre, and Matt is definitely not feeling happy. He might end up not finishing in the point for the third time that was under his control, basically, because he was the one who made the incident with Miyata, not the team himself. So if he end up surely out the point, he will lose that streak of points scored, even though they had quite a lot of a DNF. Last season, I think he was 5 DNF, but those DNF was not his own fault with the team, with gearbox reliability and stuff, and of course Miyata, who was clashing into Max Verstappen in Singapore. That's something that's still stuck in my head. But of course in lap 29, the final lap, but the come through from mistakes Charles Leclerc, who could potentially finally take the victory, bringing to the end of the round for Mercedes having no win. Since 2024 last final that was won by George Russell. In 2025, no victories whatsoever, and Charles might be able to bring that trophy home. For the Mercedes, Charles of course himself had a win last season, so Charles not so innocent to win. He knows how to win, but Mercedes, who has struggled last season, so it'll be nice for Charles Leclerc to finally get that victory of tour, Newton up ahead of the Piastri, and that is such a size there. They might be two and the finale finish on the podium, and that be a very nice surely to see that happening, and Charles Leclerc, of course, will pretty much going to take the win anyway, and Piastri is on the last leg of trying to get Newton to Nona before the race is finished, and it's 5 and 6 currently for the McLaren, but I don't think Piastri got what it takes to get ahead of Newton to Nona, unfortunately. But now we turn our attention to the monotone man himself, Charles Leclerc, who is living amazingly, of course, captain the win away from Max Verstappen mistake, and Charles, fantastic job for him, and that in such an Antonio side is going to come home to finish third place, and incredible weekend for Toro side along with Gasly and Newton to finish fourth, Piastri to finish in fifth. But here's Albon, taking his defense, Max Verstappen going on the inside line to Max Gasly, yes he did. Max is up to P10, but does Albon have anything to retaliate back? And Max Verstappen, I don't think so, I think he's done. Max will be finishing in the point, marking multiple races in a row, or strongly consecutively points finish, apart from the DNF that he had, that was no fault of his own, but what was his fault was that he lost his chance for the win when he made the contact with Miyata. That was all fault, finishing P10, so Stroll, P9 unfortunately would have been higher if we did not get that front wing damage, and Miyata fantastic finish with double point finish for the team.
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory, he wins!
Well, a brilliant race for them today, Crofty, as you could clearly see out there. They were really at one with the car. And as a driver, you take comfort from the fact that you can win in a new set of regulations. And moving forward, you're going to see that confidence rise more and more. Brilliant stuff today by them.
From lights out to the checkered flag, each and every driver has this moment in the back of their mind. Now it's time for their celebrations. Our podium, it awaits. And that is a fabulous win and the top step of the podium for Charles Leclerc.
Incredible weekend for Charles Leclerc. I mean, he should be very proud of himself, surely point showing that he made mistakes with the right call, but his Ferrari had not had a victory. Shit, the last time that Hamilton won, which I believe was in final, I believe it was in final, but now Charles takes the lead of the Driver Championship, 4 points ahead of Max Verstappen, but unfortunately Red Bull is still leading in the Construction Championship. But again, I'll remind you that I apologise for the mod that had not been input properly. There's been some issue with applying the mod, and for some reason it runs well, but when you do anything like doing highlights and stuff like that, the mod just don't seem to be staying on it. So I'm trying to figure out how to fix it inside the way. It's there, but when you do highlights, it's not there. So I don't know why that's happening, but hopefully I might be able to get it fixed later on down the line, as we are now heading over to Stanley Arabia playing. So don't forget to please like and dislike my video. Do my very appreciate it, and peace out.